This is an All Ears English podcast, episode 936. Sear this word into your mind for better English conversations.
Welcome to the All Ears English podcast. Downloaded more than 50 million times, we believe in connection, not perfection, with your American hosts, Lindsay McMahon, the English adventurer, and Michelle Kaplan, the New York radio girl, coming to you from Boston and New York City, USA. And to get your transcripts delivered by email every week, go to allearsenglish.com/subscribe. Today, we'll take the literal definition of a word and find out how we can use it in a figurative way. Let's push our level higher for this great question from a listener.
Hey, Lindsay, how's it going?
Hey, it's going great. It's going great. I'm hanging out here. You know, we're in April now. I'm ready for spring and May. I love the month of May. So psyched for that.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I feel like it's been the longest winter ever.
It has been a really long winter.
Yeah, I'm so over it. All right. Anyway, I get it. I can't even talk about it anymore. I feel like I always have the same conversation with you because it's just so frustrating.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But we won't have that conversation when it's beautiful out.
Yay!
I guess Mother's Day is coming up soon. What are you doing for Mother's Day with your mom? Anything
I'm not
special?
sure. I'm not sure if I'm going to be with my mom on Mother's Day this year or not. I have to figure that out. What about you?
Definitely going to do something special with my mom for sure. Last year, we all got together with my little niece, who at that time she was 3 and now she's 4, and we took photos in the gardens, the public gardens in Boston, and that was when all the tulips were blooming. And then it was just a nice day. We had lunch in Boston and took photos together. She had my niece had this beautiful dress on and she was running around the garden. It was so cool.
That's so nice. Yeah. I mean, I'll have to if I don't get to see my mom on Mother's Day, I'll definitely do something special the next time I see her. So we'll see.
Sounds good.
Good. All right. So now I have a question that's going to sound like it's coming out of nowhere.
Okay.
Have you ever had a scary image seared into your mind? I'm thinking of when you were a kid, anything that you can remember?
Definitely. I used to be terrified of Santa Claus. I was so scared.
Really?
I still have a memory of being in bed as a kid on Christmas Eve and being afraid to breathe heavily because I was afraid he would hear me. Oh. And I took that phrase literally, in the song is you better watch out. Oh. I felt like he was coming to hunt me down.
Oh my gosh. That is hilarious. Wait, so did you ever have this feeling about Santa, you liked him or never?
I guess I had mixed feelings in the morning, he had delivered all these gifts and I was fine. So, but I was definitely intimidated or scared of him too.
That is really, I love that. That is so funny. Well, I had I remember seeing clowns and those would kind of be seared into my mind. Yeah. I wouldn't be able to forget that image, when I'm trying to fall asleep and,
Yeah. It's like the movie It, the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see that?
Well, I saw it back in the 90s when it was a thing, and now there's a new version of it.
Yeah. Did you see the new one? I don't
know. No, I haven't. I kind of want to, but yeah, I also can't look at clowns anymore after seeing that movie.
I didn't even see that movie, and I can't look at them. But maybe even the trailer for the movie is enough to do it for me. Ugh.
That's funny.
But I love the Santa thing. That's so funny. So we used a special phrase that our listener asked a question about. Do you want to say what the phrase is?
Yeah, so you asked me, do I have an image seared into my mind? Interesting. Ooh, This is very descriptive vocabulary here. I feel like this is going to be a high-level episode.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this definitely, definitely pulls it all together and makes you think of an image. This is all about imagery, guys, and using your language to paint a picture.
Okay, cool. I love it.
Awesome. So you want to read this great question that we have from our listener, Kadir?
Yeah, this is a great question from Kadir. Here we go. Hello, Lindsay. I finally finished listening to all your episodes from the very beginning to the latest one. Wow. Awesome. That's a lot of listening.
Yeah.
All right. I unfortunately couldn't get a chance to attend your webinar, but I look forward to the next one.
Yay.
Yeah, guys, we're going to start offering webinars more often, hopefully. So keep your eyes open for those. All right, let's get to my real question. Recently, I've been reading a young adult novel and come across a phrase. It said, "That moment was seared into my mind." I know the verb sear means to incinerate the surface of something in a very brutal way, but I'm also almost sure that the meaning in this context is quite different. Could you please enlighten me as to what it means? Wow, his English is awesome. Awesome English.
Yeah.
Kadir. Thanks for creating All Ears English, and I cannot wait to see the 1000th episode of you. See ya, Kadir. Awesome.
Oh my gosh, we are getting towards 1,000.
We are. It's definitely going to happen.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
That's amazing.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Kadir. Great question. So, I mean, this word sear has many meanings, and it does put quite an image in my head. I mean, what do you think of this word, Lindsay? I mean, when you hear something is seared, what is the first thing that pops into your head?
Actually, what pops into my head is similar to you, Michelle, is sitting in my favorite sushi shop in Tokyo, in Masashi Kosugi, in the neighborhood I used to live in Japan, and the seared salmon, where the special one you can order, where they will sear it, where they take the torch, the sushi chef takes the torch and he like sears the salmon, and that was so good.
Oh, nice. That sounds really good.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I also think of salmon for sure because I've been cooking a lot of salmon lately, including last night. And I like to try to sear it, but I'm not always successful. And it's funny because I wrote this yesterday before I decided to make salmon, and I was not that successful last night.
So did you actually use like a torch?
No. I think of sear as also like putting it in the pan to try and like...
Oh, interesting.
I don't think of it only with a torch. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like, if you look up on YouTube, like seared salmon, it's also like putting it in and like kind of getting it very like dark and fried almost. Like what? I don't know. What do you think, Lindsay?
Yeah, no, that could be true too. Yeah, I think, Kadir here had the definition, right? It says to incinerate the surface of something in a very brutal way, right? And it's the same idea, whether we do it on the top of the stove or whether we do it with a torch like they do in my favorite sushi shop. And by the way, I'm excited because we're going to Japan next week and I'm hoping that I can go back to that shop and see if it's still there. It's fun to go and like relive your old memories, isn't it?
Yeah. It makes it very nostalgic feelings, I know.
Totally. Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
Good. So I hope you get to have it. So great. So yeah. But yeah, yesterday I'm having trouble with my salmon lately. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, that's another talk for another day. Michelle's salmon. Okay, here we go. Okay, so let's talk about the word sear. So we're just if you look up sear, there are actually a bunch of definitions, but I chose my favorites from the dictionary.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what's the first one? And we actually, this was my example, not the dictionaries. Okay. What is the definition, Lindsay?
Yeah. So to char, to scorch, or to burn the surface of, right? And this is what Kadir had sent us as the definition, right? So an example would be saying like, "Oh no, I seared my finger on the pan," right? Ooh, that sounds bad. Did you do that last night?
No, thank goodness. No, I didn't do that. And then another definition, is to brown. So it says like for meat quickly using very high heat. So I guess that's the way I'm talking about it. So like, should I sear the salmon or should I bake it?
Interesting. Yeah. Perfect. Okay.
Okay. And then there was one more, and this really goes along with Kadir's question. So what is it, Lindsay?
Right. Hey guys, if you love the show, hit subscribe on your podcast player now and share the show with one friend. Let's bring more people into our vision of connection, not perfection. Yet to be felt or remembered because of emotional intensity. I like the fact that sometimes, guys, we can learn the literal definition of something and then we can apply it to the more figurative definition.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's what we're doing today.
That's what it's all about here. Yep, exactly. So, this is the one from the book, right? This is what's going. So, it's like it's being burned into your memory or your brain. So in this way, sear is different than your original definition, Kadir, but it's also very similar. It's what Lindsay was saying about being figurative, right, Lindsay?
Exactly. We just need to remember the essence of the word, and then we can apply it in that literal way or the figurative way. And when you guys start doing this and understanding this, this is really going to bring us to the next level of connection in English, right? This is it right here. Love it.
For sure. Yeah. So that's seared. So we're going to talk more about that, but I wanted to teach you to throw out just a few other phrases to say like that you can't forget something, right? So that it's stuck in your head, right? It's stuck in your brain. So, just have a few ones that you could use, but I still think that for the most part, like sear is just this really powerful one. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's when we want to draw a very strong image that we could use sear.
Right. Exactly. So what's another thing that you could say, Lindsay?
Well, you could just start off by saying, I'll never forget it, right? I'll never forget this, or I'll never forget, right?
Or,
that's the way a lot of people.
Right. Or I'll never forget the time when, right?
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
Right. And then the next one is it's burned into my brain or burned into my mind, which is very similar to sear, but I think people also say burned. What do you think?
I mean, I haven't said this before, I don't think, but I would. I think it makes sense. Yeah. I mean, that image is so strong in your head. If you witness something that you can never get out of your mind, or we just have memories, like for whatever reason, like why is it that you and I only think of salmon when it comes to the word sear? I don't know. Right. It's burned in our mind.
Right. Exactly. And then the last one you could say is like, oh, it's always on my mind. But that could also be more like, I mean, this one could work, but it could also mean like, I'm always thinking about it rather than I can't forget it. I don't know. It's a little different.
Yeah. Just this idea of having an image in your mind.
Exactly. So that's, a possibility. Like, maybe this isn't the best example. I don't know. Now that I'm looking at it again.
I think our listeners are hopefully getting the idea here, right? This something is so strong. We'll never forget it. It's burned into our brain, into our mind.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, so really, Kadir, you really got it. And so we were talking more about emotions in that one. So let's give it a little role play. So this is a fun one, Lindsay. So in this role play, we are looking through our high school yearbook. So we went to high school together, not in real life, but, in this situation we did, and we are looking at our yearbook. Okay.
Should I be A or B?
You can be A.
Okay. All right. That picture is so embarrassing. Oh, now it's seared into my mind. I can't believe I wore that.
Oh, well, look at me. I'll never forget the time when my mom made me wear that giant dress. It was so funny looking.
Oh, gross. Mrs. B. Well, I didn't like her, but I do have to say some of what she taught me is burned into my brain.
That's true. She was a good teacher, just tough. So Mrs. B is not my mom in this situation. We are looking at a picture of Mrs. B, just to be clear.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay. So would this be, I mean, how do these sound to you, Lindsay?
Yeah, I mean, they sound good. Sometimes certain images of ourselves from high school are seared into our minds. That's like who we were back in the day, the poor fashion choices and
the big glasses.
I have a horrible memory. I used to play the clarinet, and it's the least cool instrument in the band in my mind, right? I should have played like the saxophone or the trumpet or something. I was a
flautist, so.
A flautist. That's also kind of, it's a little bit cooler than the clarinet. But
I don't know. They're about
kind
the
of
same level. I mean, I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a memory of, we used to have band concerts, right? And my mom made me wear this horrible blouse with like a tie, like a girly tie.
Oh,
you know
my
what
gosh.
I mean? From the 90s, like a tie you'd wear with a blouse. And it's just like miserable. I think I saw a picture recently of me on stage with my clarinet.
Really? Oh, you gotta send me that. I want to see.
And that image is seared into my mind forever from like the 4th grade or something.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Old times. Yeah. So let's go through this role play. So what was the first thing that you said you were talking about, an embarrassing picture?
Okay. So I said, oh, that picture's so embarrassing. Oh, now it's seared into my mind. Right. So it's something I've remembered since then. Yeah.
Right. And then I said, I'll never forget the time when my mom made me wear that giant dress.
Yeah, I feel like this is such a common way to start. Just outside of even today's episode, we could do another episode on introducing a memory by saying, I'll never forget the time when, or even just, I'll never forget, right? I hear people saying that, just starting by saying, I'll never forget, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Right. I like that. And then finally, I said, some of what I said, I didn't like this teacher, but her, some of what she taught me is burned into my brain. So yeah, we didn't use always on my mind, but I'm gonna throw that one out.
yeah, sure.
But I think that these ones are really natural sounding.
I think so. I like it.
So hopefully, we've answered the question about the word sear, right? I mean, and what's the takeaway today, Lindsay?
Well, I mean, for Kadir here, we know that you are really pushing your level higher, and it's cool that you're reading, young adult novels. I think that's great and those are geared towards like teenage age, right? The young adult age. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And just so everybody knows real quickly. So when it's young adult, but a lot of times people write it YA. So if you see like YA in capital letters, when somebody's talking about what they're reading, that means young adult.
Interesting. Good to know. So it's a good way to get going with your English. And especially if you're, in your early 20s, late teens, maybe it's a good piece of material to use for sure. It's a great genre and you can get a lot of examples of natural English, right? These are the things that we read when we were, teenagers, for example. Right, Michelle?
Right. Yeah. I mean, and your definition guess was, really great. It was great that you explained it. And, this one, it's actually similar to what we talked about, like this being seared into your mind. It's actually similar to, the literal meaning, what you were saying, but it's just a more figurative meaning, just like a picture of something being stuck in your head, right?
Yeah, so I think this is the next level for our listeners, guys, like starting to learn those literal definitions. And then how could we apply that figuratively? Like, do natives do that with those particular words that we're studying? We want to learn that. Then we will be moving to that next level of connection. That's the direction we're moving in, guys. Awesome.
Love it. All right. Anything else you want to add today, Lindsay?
No, this has been great, guys. If you want a transcript, because we did do some interesting vocabulary today, if you want a transcript, want to receive the transcripts every Monday and save 50%, go to allearsenglish.com/subscribe and you will get those in your inbox every Monday.
All right. Perfect. All right. Well, thanks so much, Lindsay. And thank you again, Kadir, for that question. Thanks, guys, for listening.
Talk soon, Michelle.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Thanks so much for listening to All Ears English. And if you need a 7 or higher on your IELTS exam to achieve your life vision, then our Insider Method can get you there. Start with our free video series masterclass. Get video 1 now at allearsenglish.com/INSIDER. And if you believe in connection, not perfection, then subscribe to our show on your phone or on your computer. See you next time.